let's go. It's time. It is time. Sorry. A bit long. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. Woke everyone up at least. Classic. Classic. Alright. Alright. There we go. And there we go. Alright. Let's get some of that coffee going. And get some water. We get some coffee. I'll do like one article today. Just because the time Todd consumed way too much time. A very time consuming Todd, damn. Now it's the mission now to find those flowers, dude. Got the mission, We're on the mission now. Alright. Alright. Of the sad game news, Oh, I mean, kinda. In general, a lot of sad stuff, I guess you could say. There we go. Don't steal next time, yeah. Well, shouldn't put it there. It's like you can take everything in Mage's Guild, Like, why do you have your property there, bro? I thought I'm searching the table. It was like 2 gold fee, bro. Come on. Come on. Come on, Why you have to be mad, I'm just a calcinator. Or something like that. Or something like that. Not developing any more highlight games. It was fake news, I mean, sorta. I will see. Maybe they are, you know, just kinda maneuvering there. Maybe they just maneuvering there. You never know, I mean, the truth is, it's probably not gonna be new Halo games for a while. That's the main one. That's the main one. Hey, Daxer, good morning. How you doing, man? How's it going, man? There we go. It's a more Oblivion tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow is Monday, RPG Monday, so tomorrow is gonna be some more Oblivion in. More looking for the flowers, probably. Probably. There we go. Hey, Uton. Hello. The game New Blood is making? We'll see. New Blood is taking their own take on the old Fallout, like the combat, for example, and everything. Combat might be not up to everyone's taste. Especially, I don't like their... What was the name? Their a justification for doing the combat that way. I think a lot of people already also kind of pointed that out. Insidial, hello. But yeah, it's totally not up to everyone's taste. Usually, how's life? The combat they're making there. So we'll see. Might be good, but it's totally not exactly the same stuff. Which, like, I mean, honestly, I like the Fallout combat vibe. I feel that it's nice. Some trickery. And then they decided to change that. Well, you'll see. They have some nice artists on the own work too on that project. There is also the Fallout Bakersfield stuff. I guess that one also having some moves. It's not gonna be Fallout Bakersfield though, I guess. Because I doubt Bethesda will be happy about it, right? But it's gonna be something. It looks very interesting. Well, maybe they will be down for some collab there. That would be amazing. Nice, really nice. Sounds good, huh? The stroll through the snow. Sounds good, man. That sounds good, eh? Things are alrighty. Things are alrighty. A bit late to the coffee. Bit too much Oblivion. And there's not that much in terms of news though anyway for now. Next week will be a little bit more loaded, eh? I'm gonna get the Xbox show. That was actually, when was it? Was it Thursday? Was it Wednesday? I don't remember. Don't remember, eh? I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. I need to find time to get some more brewing soon, actually. Forgot about that. Have some wheat in there. Some more wheat in. Yeah, right. Clean the grinder. Grinder cleaned. Yeah, next week we're gonna be watching the Xbox thingy. Feeling it's gonna be very underwhelming, but I mean, still gonna watch. Especially like with Redfall and everything. Well, we'll see if there is there's already something worth caring about. Especially for $80. Because apparently it should be $80. And that's a big yikes. The Xbox thing, I think it's Wednesday evening. I don't remember. It should be 9 p.m. I think European time. And I think it's Wednesday or Thursday or something. I don't remember.
Hello,
Will be
guys.
there? Nope. No Toad there. Should I go, master? Come back to the dungeon. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it, appreciate it. Yeah, Todd is gonna do their own thing for Starfield later. This is gonna be kind of like Lidl one. There's gonna be Redfall. Some more Forza stuff, I think. What else will be there? I don't remember what else was there. Basically nothing interesting, pretty much. Pretty much nothing interesting. Oh yeah, ESO actually gonna be there, I think. So I guess you could say Todd will be kinda, in a way, but it's gonna be the ZeniMax rather than Bethesda. Redfall somewhat hyped? I don't think so. I mean, I think it's kind of the same issue as Forspoken. Like, no one really cares about it. in my opinion. At least I haven't seen anyone who did that. That's for sure. Like the fans of arcane games, they are kinda, I think, more a bit mad because nothing like their games by the looks of it seems for now. And like everyone else, not sure. Not sure if anyone else is also kinda into it. Alright, what do we have to read? There was, I think, something I wanted to check. I guess I can go with Cosmeteer as one of the options. What else is there? Let's go with Cosmeteer, fine. Let's do one article today. Let's do it. You know, will flop. I mean, will not necessarily flop, I think. Especially like, well, in case of Forspoken, we'll see. They also got like the main character, some actress, right? I'm not really familiar with actors nowadays, so I'm not sure. But yeah, they probably paid a bunch for that stuff. It's kind of like more AAA feel, open world. So you know, they paid a lot of money for people to fill it with some bloat. And expectations are high, probably because it's Square, right? So for Spoken, maybe. I think in terms of Redfall, I think it's gonna kinda do all right. Because it's a co-op game, right? Hey, Lego, hello. How you doing? Co-op stuff is already, as I said, you know, having co-op kinda reduces the negativity automatically. Like there's gonna be people who will be getting it just for the co-op stuff anyway. So we'll see. Yes, Game Pass also, so yeah, it's gonna, no matter what, gonna be kinda okay. And Dead Space remake, yeah. That's also gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen with that one. We'll see what's gonna happen with that one. Because there's a lot of kinda sus, you know, things about it. Some changes and everything they did. We'll see. The alter. The co-op vampire game in Blood Masquerade universe. Which one was that? Which one was that? There we go. No, first of all, they're not in Vampire. They're not in the Dark World or whatever universe. They're not in the Masquerade universe whatsoever. If you mean like Blood Hunt or something, then it's different though. Blood Hunt is BR game. That's a bit of a different story. And I don't think it's really forgotten. I think it has its own player base and stuff. People still playing. Maybe not crazy, not as popular as other BRs, but it's also BR. It's not exactly co-op. It's a bit of a different and more clogged already at this point. Niche. I don't know if there was another co-op game in the universe. I think they mostly... It is Battle Royale, it's Blood Hunt, yeah. That's different, it's not co-op. It has nothing to do with co-op. I'm not even sure if you can do... I guess you can do like some duos or something, but yeah, it's not co-op. The BR audience is like more kind of like how do you say, more gamers, you know. It's the actually, you know, the ones with gamer words and everything. It's like people with more like competitive mindset, people who play that kind of stuff. And the proper traditional co-op is like, you know, just a bunch of random normies who just have some spare time after work and they want to play something casually with their friends. And Blood Hunt also actually kind of had a pretty successful start. They just couldn't really capitalize on that. 100 people on Blood Hunt. I mean, they have a bunch of console players, I think. They pumped a lot of what's the name? They pumped a lot in marketing on like TwitchCon, on some other conventions. Pumped a lot of streamers, so I think they did kind of well. I saw Samir left though, so I'm not sure actually. Well, he maybe just like was more interested in doing some other stuff. Maybe he just kind of like saw that, you know, it's not going that well. Hard to say. I was a community manager there. All right. $800 too many. I don't think it's that bad though. I think it's not a bad game. It's just the genre, dude. The genre is way too... It's already way too overpopulated. It's like making successful BRs nowadays. Not that simple. Yeah, wait a bit. All right. Alright, let's get one article today. And get to the news. A solo dev, Walt Dessler, community's enthusiasm for Cosmotier kept me going. That was the game I played before on First Look Friday. I think it was out last Next Fest, I think, or something, right? Because I remember there was a demo people were playing, and I think I already got the preview version there. Recent reviews 90%. Yeah, I mean, the Bloodhound has like very big dedicated audience. Like, you know, the vampire series enjoyers and stuff. Like Samir, for example, he's a streamer also, right? He was community manager there, and he basically, like, just by being community manager there and playing the game, he just got himself like a partner on Twitch. Got a lot of people in his channel and everything, and then as soon as he moved from the company, stopped being community manager on Bloodhunt, it was just like not stonks anymore. People just instantly peaced out. So there's like a lot of very huge like dedicated community around it that is like only into that stuff basically. All right. There we go. There we go. See the let's see. That Genshin. I mean, it's all right. My brother's still playing. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the monetization and, you know, in other systems later. But it's fine while it lasts. And full free-to-play mode or just subscription mode, like $5 a month, I think, can get you like pretty far there. That's how my brother is playing basically, and with just a subscription. You're right, Cosmotier. Material starship building simulator that allows players to build ridiculously elaborate starships and fly them across galaxies to explore the stars. Or battle enemies and fight other players, of course. Took Walt Dester 7 years to develop the game, and after all that time, he's happy with the result. Yep, it's pretty much what I had in mind. Dester, the guy, decided to go solo after he quit his job at the mobile game studio Rumble. He says he felt he had very little agency over the success or failure of the games he made there. Wanted to be the one making decisions. It was my game that was going to fail. I wanted to be my fault. And so he took the side project he was working on and turned it into fully solo developed game. The high price of Forspoken will have an effect. Well, I mean, they're probably gonna, like, you know, half a lot of copium. Or if anything, it's not gonna be really copium, it's just gonna be like the pretendium, I guess, you know. And they're gonna be trying to blame for everything, you know, the female protagonist. The female protagonist, you know, that is not not white and everything, you know, they're gonna find some things to blame all the hate on, probably. What else would there could there be? What else could they find? They're probably gonna like post that like some developers got some death threats and everything, you know, and they're gonna just try to blame that instead of blaming, you know, that the money is too high and the game is not too good. They wants to have control over their failures, yeah. Exactly. Been working on Cosmoteer as a side project for a few years. While I was working a real game developer job as a programmer at a mobile game studio. But I had become unhappy for various reasons and decided to quit. I figured I would just work on Cosmoteer until a better opportunity came along. None did. But then one day some YouTubers started playing the free classic version and the game went viral on YouTube. At that point it became clear to me that there was an audience for the game, so I decided to stop looking for other opportunities and finish Cosmoteer. Sì, serio, I see. True. True. The biggest advantage is working solo. Being in charge of my own destiny. One of the things I was unhappy about at my real job was that I felt like I had a very little agency over the success or failure of our game. Didn't really disagree with decisions that the company was making, but I wanted to be the one making the decisions. My game was going to fail, I wanted it to be my fault. And the biggest pitfalls, self-motivation is probably the hardest. Generally very motivated when working with other people, but as a solo dev, I had to find other ways to motivate myself. Community that has grown around Cosmoteer has been a huge help there. And the creative process. Honestly, I don't really have a process. Cosmoteer mostly just designs itself. I'll have an idea for a new weapon or game mechanic and I'll just sit down and code it up, play with it and iterate on it until I'm happy with it. Then I'll usually share it with the community to get more feedback. Community continued enthusiasm for Cosmoteer has been the thing that kept me going. It looks like a golden game. I haven't seen, I guess, like the gameplay, like kind of like stills too much, I guess, and trailers looked alright. Sounds great, but it's the worst, I guess, yeah. Cosmoteer has been in development for 7 years. How much has the project changed over time? And one of the most surprising things about Cosmoteer is how little the grand vision has changed. If I could go back in time and show myself the game, I think my past self would say, yep, that's pretty much what I had in mind. There's one thing that has surprised me is how deep the PvP is. I wasn't expecting that. Now the game is finished, what are you most proud of? Two answers. First, the community that grew around the game. Some of the players have been around for years, and I've even hired some of them to work on the game. Second, the fact that the ship design is actually an interesting strategic challenge. That was the whole goal of the game, so I'm really happy that worked out. I told your mental health can be quite high as solo developer. How do you deal with that? I'm not sure I have a good answer to that. I guess just by not working too hard. Even leading up to launch, I was getting plenty of sleep and exercise. Other than the final week or two before launch, I would not really say that I crunched at all. No, I mean, the benefits of doing it alone. You crunch if you want to crunch. It's all about actually controlling the fact if you want to or not. That's the tricky part sometimes, if you want to grind or not. Alright, fine, let's get another one. This one's kind of smaller. I might as well. Come on. No point of crunch is the way you gotta do it. Well, in a way, could be, could be. Now, what about this one? And this one... not that crazy, let's go, fine. Solo dev David Stark lives comfortably, just not extravagantly, off his game Airships. The path to successful career as a solo developer is hardly ever a straight line. David Stark used to work as a programmer on all sorts of software development projects before he took the leap of faith and pursued his true passion, game development. It was the frankly angry point in his life when a contract job refused to pay him for his work. He had a giant hole in his wallet and the visceral desire to see large explosions. So he started working on Airships Conquer the Skies. And the game players construct steampunk airships and send them into battle while tiny air sailors run around manning the ships. This is the first very early version of the game in 2014. Now, almost 9 years later, the game is still going strong on Steam. Stark is still adding to the game to keep the community interested. The game is successful enough for me to support myself. I can live comfortably, just not extravagantly. Meanwhile, a new game idea is brewing. Also be about horrible things happening to small simulated people. Let's say, the game plan. Did you become a solo developer? The game development as a hobby as a teenager, so this was something I'd always been interested in. Graduating from university, I worked at 2 programming jobs, which were both okay but not very satisfying. Kept on doing the game projects on the side. Eventually I had a game that I felt was far enough along that I could maybe finish it and sell it, so I quit my job. Shortly thereafter, I contracted a major case of a chronic RSI that made me mostly unable to work for about 2 years. Oops. So once I was a bit better, I supported myself through software development contract work and kept plugging away at my game when I could. Then at some point after a particularly frustrating contract refused to pay me, I decided to put together a quick prototype of an airship combat game because I wanted something more viscerally satisfying than the space RPG I'd been working on. And this prototype really took off. People showed far more interest in it than they ever had in the RPG. Took a few months for me to admit it to myself, but in the end I dumped the project I'd been working on for years and started work on the airship game in earnest. Few months later, I released the first version on itch.io, and while it wasn't an overnight success, it's been growing steadily ever since. So as you can see, it was an extremely straightforward process. Oh, the air. That one I remember. That one I remember. They rebranded in Bland Korean PvP Ground MMO. I think it was kind of from the beginning. The air part was just kind of like just a piece of it, you know. And them so them. And everyone is John Romero, yeah. The biggest advantage of working solo. I don't have a boss to deal with, and I can make my own decisions about what to work on and when to work on it. Thing with software development is that things are randomly much easier and much harder than you think. So any attempt to tame it into some nice linear process is basically a delusion. Endless source of conflict between workers and bosses. Working for myself means that I can decide to just not do something if it turns out to be too hard, or to do something that's hard if I'm really motivated to do it. course, in the end, I have to make a game that people want to play, but I'm a lot more agile like that. The biggest pitfalls, you have to do everything, even the things you don't like doing. You have to do tech support, community management, taxes, marketing, and so on. And you have to learn to be at least competent at all of them. Even if you end up hiring someone to take on the work, you still need to understand it well enough to be able to tell if they are doing a good job. The creative process. I mostly scribble ideas on printer paper or napkins when they come to me. When I'm working on a particular project or feature, mine tends to be occupied with it by default. For larger features or projects, I'll eventually sit down and make a plan of what I want to implement to make sure that things make sense and are balanced, but a lot of the creative process just happens while I go about my day. So a lot of game design happens in the shower. Or you scribble in the shower then, though. How do you stay motivated through the years of development? It's something you need to manage to the degree that you can. Try to find ways to make myself interested in whatever I'm currently working on. Also, I try to structure my work so that the interesting bits and the boring bits are interspersed, so I'm not left with long stretches of time where I'm just not motivated. Well, that's a good advice. Sometimes those still occur, and I just have to grit my teeth and work through them. Also learn that your motivation will just naturally ebb and flow, so even if you don't feel motivated now, don't beat yourself up. In a week or 3, your motivation will probably return. See also the point about bosses. In practice, my work happens partly in bursts of amazing productivity, in solid weeks where I get a nice amount of work done, and in long stretches of time when there is not that much progress. Do you ever work in a team, or is it only solo for you? Let's be clear here, solo development is a bit of a relative term anyway. Yes, I do nearly all the work on the game myself. But I do contract out some of artwork and music, but I have no interest in building a studio, hiring employees and all that. It's stressful enough being responsible for my own livelihood. And I would not want to be responsible for an entire team, eh? But I could imagine collaborating with others or joining a studio for a project. Airships Conquer the Skies is out since 2018 and earlier in early access. Are you still working on the game? In August 2022, I released a big update that added diplomacy and more complex main map gameplay, and now consider the game to be reasonably complete, in a state where I could walk away from it and be satisfied. Continuing to support it with bug fix and balance patches, though those are becoming less frequent. Also working on a DLC for the game, which I aim to announce in a few weeks. Game is successful enough for me to support myself, because I live in an expensive city, Zurich, in an expensive country, Switzerland. There's less money in my bank account than I would like, but I can live comfortably, just not extravagantly. The trick is to be so busy with game development as a job come hobby. Yeah, I guess it's like, the come as in and but job come hobby sounds kind of like a daily schedule, to be honest. That you don't have time for any more expensive pursuits like travel or fast cars or spending all your savings on ugly monkey pictures. Yeah, that totally doesn't sound like something you should be spending on. You're already working on a new game. I have a detailed prototype of the next game after Airships, which will also be about horrible things happening to small simulated people. Right now I'm concentrating on Airships DLC, but the next game is definitely in the pipeline. The mental health. There's definitely a number of things that are bad for the mental health of solo developers. Working by yourself means that everything comes down to you, so you're never really off the clock. Take my laptop with me on holiday because if there's some critical problem like a game-breaking bug, broken server, or Discord flame war, I have to be able to fix it. Yeah, that sounds relatable. And you can't help but personally identify with your work a huge amount, and so you're emotionally vulnerable. A single bad review can put you into a spiral of self-doubt. How do you deal with it? One thing is that you accept that things aren't going to be perfect. Going to be bugs and bad reviews and flame wars. I'm not going to be as productive as I wish I could be. And I also make sure that I have people around me. I have my family, and I also help run a co-working space incubator for game developers called the Swiss Game Hub. So if I need help or motivation, I can go there and talk to other developers and feel less alone in my work. I'm just gonna get used to it, basically, alright? Already saw the final boss. Already in them, son. All right. The monologue. Yeah, the monologue is not something I do enjoy. That I don't really like in the games like that. It's too much of it. Like High on Life was also full on it, but on High on Life it was just like the meme stuff, right? Like it was somewhat funny, at least some of them, right? And them being annoying was also kind of part of the humor, I guess, the vibe of the game. So while I wasn't really a huge fan, it was kind of alright. And it was like still quite a short game, I guess, also. So it didn't feel too overbearing. And when you play some like open world live service for like 40 hours or something, you probably will have enough of that. I have a feeling. But yeah, living in Switzerland after your game, that sounds like a decent amount. In some Eastern European, or maybe like in completely different country, probably would be making a fortune then, sorta. That is the dream, eh? The thing is, it's also not permanent anyway. Like, no game will be selling forever, unless it's Skyrim, of course.